This section will talk about conducting the interview, developing rapport with the applicant, and sticking to the agenda of prepared questions you have. Here are some tips about meeting logistics. Make sure that the location you select for the interview has a certain amount of privacy, and be sure you turn off your phone so you aren't interrupted. No one can be effective in back-to-back interviews all day long. You need to be able to pace yourself and begin each interview with a fresh perspective. For that reason, consider these suggestions. Don't schedule too many interviews in one day. You won't get your other work done and you won't be fresh for each interview. Don't do interviews back-to-back. It's degrading to the applicant to be treated like one of many in the process and makes it seem like a competition. So try to schedule some time between your interviews to ensure that you have a break as well. And you might want to limit your interviews to 45 minutes. Shorter is better, particularly if the applicant is meeting several people. You can always bring the person back for a second interview or call them to clarify a specific point. While a follow-up call or interview is not ideal and is not suggested for all applicants, there is no need to keep the applicant there all day unless the person is from out of town. Let's talk about the interview itself. You want to be careful about your body language as well as read the body language of the applicant. And it's important to have the applicant be at ease so they're comfortable in giving you responses to your questions. And the more comfortable they are, the better answers they'll give you. Start out with a simple icebreaker to get them talking and start developing rapport. Examples of icebreakers might be the type of industry they've worked in the past, or the geographical area that they're from, or various job duties or responsibilities that caught your attention. There are 3 advantages of this approach to small talk. First, applicants will be put at ease when they begin discussing their own background. Second, the interview begins quicker and you have a chance to find out more about your applicant earlier in the interview. And third, applicants will be pleased that you remembered something about them and therefore will be more likely to trust you. This increases your chance of getting revealing, honest answers. Note that small talk can open an employer's door for potential problems by revealing information that cannot legally be used in the hiring process. For example, although asking an interviewee where he or she went to high school may not be unlawful in and of itself, follow-up about the year of graduation could reveal the applicant's age. If the applicant is over 40 years old, he or she may feel that any decision not to extend an employment offer was based upon unlawful age discrimination. Interviewers must be careful not to make small talk that would invite answers revealing the individual's national origin, age, family situation, or other areas that could invite discrimination claims down the road. To get the interview started, introduce yourself and your role, and anyone else who is participating in the interview. Introduce the main points of the job without giving away exactly what you're looking for. Some things that you might want to say to kick off the interview include stating, "I have a list of questions and I will ask the same questions to each and every applicant. And after my questions, I'll give you the opportunity to ask me a few questions." The interview should last about 45 minutes. If you're ready, let's get started. This way the applicant knows what to expect. Here are some points you want to keep in mind while conducting the interview. First of all, you're in control, so stick to your agenda. Listen and allow the applicant to answer and elaborate. Try to talk 20% of the time and listen 80% of the time. Keep your part of the conversation brief. Stick to your list of questions and ask probing questions as follow-on, if appropriate. Nod and encourage them. Make sure that they feel comfortable in conducting the interview. Make sure that you pace the interview so you can get through all of your questions. Again, you're supposed to be asking each and every applicant the same questions, so make sure you stay on pace. Allow the applicant to ask you a few questions towards the end, but you shouldn't let the applicant interview you. And on a positive note, be respectful and positive at all times. Some of the things you don't want to do is to ask personal questions. Again, if you stick to your agenda, you won't have any problems veering off course. Also, suspend your judgment. Don't allow superficial impressions to influence your decision. Don't make any promises about a job. Don't ask the applicant when they can start. They may interpret that as getting the job. And also make sure that you're not asking any possibly discriminatory questions. A few more reminders. Don't cross-examine or interrogate the person. Stick to your list of prepared questions that are simple and straightforward, and avoid asking any irrelevant questions. If you have your list of questions prepared in advance and stick to it, you should have a good, well planned out interview. If you've reached the end of your interview agenda, you're ready to wrap the interview up. Thank them sincerely and be positive. Let them know any next steps in terms of the process and timing, but don't make any promises or give them any indication that they got the job. Here are some key points. Interviews are an essential part of the hiring process, but there's more to come. For example, tests, reference checking, and other steps along the way of the recruitment process. But in terms of conducting an interview, make sure that you prepare your questions in advance. Create the agenda and stick to it. Avoid potentially discriminatory questions and judgments. And remember that respect goes a long way. Relax and be confident. And remember, the more comfortable your applicant is, the better answers they're going to be able to provide to you for your interview. Hopefully these tips will assist you in conducting an effective, insightful interview.